UNESCO that they are doing work here. This is the old Soviet armored personnel carrier. It's not every day that something like this happened. September 11 terrorist attacks to the Twin Towers. Brazil. Yeah, welcome. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Tashakur. Manik seems to be a little bit upset.
I'm annoyed.
You can see even have the old Afghani flag. They're chopping people's head in public square. I think it's an old anti-aircraft cannon. It's called Charles Wilson's War. I'm gonna put the image here, left behind, and now just garbage. And you can see where the projectiles came out and put a lot of explosives down here. And welcome to another video from Out of Your Comfort Zone. My name is Rodrigo.
And I'm Nikki.
And we are not in Afghanistan. We are actually in Dushanbe, the capital of Tajikistan, at the memorial Martyrs of Martyrs, to the soldiers who fought and died during the Second World War, which here and everywhere around the ex-Soviet Union is called the Great Patriotic War. And why we are here and not in Afghanistan? Because we already been to Afghanistan for 2 weeks. It was absolutely amazing, but we needed about a couple of days here after we crossed by land to Tajikistan to decompress and rethink everything we saw in Afghanistan to be able to give you a better introduction to our videos.
It was a very intense experience.
Very intense experience. But the difference from my videos, I believe, is that I'm a geopolitical analyst. So everything you're gonna see and explore together with us around Afghanistan is gonna have a lot of geopolitical analysis, context, history, recent history from just before the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, after the invasion, the civil war, then the September 11th terrorist attacks in New York, the American invasion with the international coalition, the fall of Kabul, and then today, how is Afghanistan? Talk about the women's rights, talk about the security, which improved tremendously, some pros and cons, not everything black and white, but with context, with nuance.
Nothing is black and white in Afghanistan.
Absolutely. So I don't know exactly to which video you clicked to watch, because you're using this introduction to almost every single video we have about Afghanistan. We're gonna learn more about the graveyard of empires. The Brits tried, the Soviets tried, the Americans tried, and they all failed to occupy and tame Afghanistan. It was also known as the Soviets' Vietnam, because as the Americans in Vietnam, the Soviet Union invaded, occupied Afghanistan, but it wasn't able to stay. It was kicked out, invited to leave Afghanistan, the same way the Americans failed in Vietnam. I hope you enjoyed. Good morning, everyone. So welcome to Gholghola, in the outskirts of Bamyan. It used to be the heart of the Islamic Empire in this region.
After the Buddhists left.
After the Buddhists left, and where used to be the Buddhas are right there. And after that came the Mongols, Genghis Khan, and killed everyone who was inside here pretty bad.
So now it's called the City of Screams.
City of Screams. From above here you can see really well the city of Bamyan, old town, new town, Buddhas right there that we're gonna visit pretty soon. And here the rest of the Gholghola town. They are renovating everything. There used to be rooms.
Different rooms, can we see? Different
rooms, yes. Oh, this is amazing, amazing. And it's really, really cool that UNESCO, that they are doing work here. I lost everyone. Any country in the world, this would be a massive tourist attraction. We would have so many people visiting this, like lining up. Definitely, definitely worth it. It's like a labyrinth, and it was a whole town. This. Just a small parenthesis about Tunisia. This reminds me a little bit of Tatooine. In Tunisia, it's where they filmed Star Wars, Luke Skywalker planet of Tatooine. And if you're watching this, you're probably a traveler or likes traveling. Tunisia is amazing, super close to Europe, obviously, cheap flights, and they have amazing history. They have a lot of Star Wars stuff, but also Carthage, Roman. It's incredible, worth a visit. Nikki wrote a beautiful article about our road trip around Tunisia and how you can do the same with a bunch of tips. Você viu nosso amigo ali na nossa frente com a arma?
Sim, é TB.
É TB. Eles fazem a guarda daqui e estão nos acompanhando no tour. The TB flag over there. Little Nikki. And where the Buddhas used to be. As you can also see the airport over there. Bamyan Airport. You could fly to Bamyan, but I think the road trip here. It's like you see more of the outskirts and the outside of Kabul, and not just like city to city to city flying or for traveling. I was actually showing the smaller Buddha over there. That's the big Buddha.
It's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. It used to be, right? And let's go up to the top. E aqui o TB, ele tá todo o tempo com a gente aqui. Não sei porque nesses casos ele vem acompanhando a gente. UNESCO work here. They renovated the wall. So when we were driving, we came that way and you could see from, oh wow, there's this whole other part here. So it's like at the mountain, down, up and down. And you can see the mist over there. Acho que essa foto vai ficar perfeita, que ele tá agachado ali atrás.
Agachando.
Tá vendo aqui? Tá entendendo o que eu tô tentando fazer, né? Tentando ser malandro aqui, não sei se dá certo. Ah, there was like a paths. This place is spectacular. If you're going to Bamyan, you have to come to the citadel. So much history in a single place. Buddhists, Muslims, Genghis Khan with the Mongols. Like, it's incredible. And TB now. And it doesn't stop. We were there and still have all of this. Like was surrounding the whole hill. And look, our guides are here with the driver. It's the first time the driver been here. So he's enjoying as well, which is pretty cool to be honest. I think it's nice that they enjoy their own country and the historical sites here. Most of the caves you see here, like this one, was built by the Buddhas. The same way they built all those caves. I don't know if you can see around the big Buddha over there. The hill is full of caves. They used to live in those caves. So besides the outside part of the citadel, there is the inside as well. I think this is to slow down the flow of water when there's rain or anything, so it doesn't cause too much damage. Never seen that before. I'm saying anything stupid about it. This is to slow down the flow of water. You can correct me in the comment areas. I'm not an engineer or anything similar to that. I'm not smart enough for that. Wow, it's huge. It's a whole living room there. Huge. So many caves. I know I'm repeating myself, or maybe I'm spending too much time recording this, but it's like impressive. Humbly saying, I've traveled to a lot of places around the world. I've seen a lot of Roman, Greek, Carthage ruins, and yeah, this is incredible. They like playing volleyball here. Again, close to the ruins, they're playing volleyball. Or they are in UNESCO, or they are tourists with a lot of more money than we have. And since she's a better observer than I am, she mentioned it was the first time we see people with short sleeves here. Because Bamyan has Herat, they're a little bit more liberal, more progressive. They don't like the TB. So they do this small little challenge, and I think it's good. Way more women on the streets, almost 50-50 on the streets in Bamyan. You don't see that so far in Kabul. Here you have the UNESCO placard here and about the work they are doing around Bamyan and the Gholghola ancient city. This is the old Soviet armored personnel carrier, and that's the old Buddhas that were destroyed by the you know who. Good, and you? Are you good? It's not every day that something like this happens. This is what we have left of the Buddhas. And you can see the, Nikki, correct me, Scaffolding. Sorry, English is not my first language. Because UNESCO, with the previous government, they're trying to rebuild the Buddhas. You see some parts here, the big rocks, and parts that are still remaining of the Buddha are here. So they are separating, it's almost like a jigsaw, trying to see what parts fits with what, and then they thought eventually putting over there. Obviously, with the current situation, they're not doing that anymore. And here also you have parts of the Buddha that UNESCO was trying to work out with. Fortunately, there's a little bit of garbage down there, but it's still very, very impressive that hundreds and hundreds of years ago they were able to build something like that. They were destroyed by the Taliban in 2001, a few months before September 11 terrorist attacks to the Twin Towers in New York. So it was like almost like people know something are coming. They destroyed these, they killed the leader of the Northern Alliance, which were fighting against the Taliban, and then they did September 11th. You can literally go inside here, behind where the Buddhas were. The Buddhas were right here. That's what they destroyed. Come on. And this was a special place for Buddhism as well, just behind the big Buddhas. Such a pity. Again, the Buddha is just there, it used to be, and then there was stairs here, and you would go all the way, like a cave. There was by the head of the Buddha. And then here, I don't know what's here. It's gonna be a surprise.
I'll develop this one.
Yeah. Can you imagine carving this? How much work? And it's just not about where the Buddhas used to be. They have like this whole ancient ruins towns. There is a mosque over there, and there were these burial grounds, Muslim burial grounds. It's like you are like back in time completely incredible. So here there was another Buddha. No, it's not the female Buddha, it's another one. But then you ask yourself, how did they build that cave over there? How did they go up there? So what they do, they build this cave here, for instance, and from inside they build the stairs to that cave there to eventually break away from that cave. So there's a stair, a connection between the lower one and the top one through inside the mountain. And the caves here and the Buddhas. And the higher part here is the military base where we saw the Soviet tanks yesterday. That's a military base, probably belonged to or the International Coalition or the ANA, and now obviously Taliban. Same thing as the other Buddha. These are the old pieces of the Buddha, and over there is the female Buddha. The one we were watching before was male Buddha. The female Buddha doesn't have the scaffolding. You can see much better a little bit of the shape of the female Buddha, the arms, both here. It's a little bit more interesting. I think UNESCO started building with the bricks here. They wanted to remake it as well. But you understand now they stopped the whole work here. We're going inside here, inside the Buddha, female Buddha, to see the upper chambers. Monique seems to be a little bit upset.
I'm annoyed
Why?
because it was the TB who destroyed these incredible ancient relics, really special. And now they're the same ones who are guarding them, we just spoke Portuguese, right? And the same ones who are earning entrance fees. So I also feel a little uncomfortable that he just
Yeah. It is annoying and ironic, right? They're profiting now from something they destroyed. Well, and you can see now, this is the part we are in the middle of the Buddha. Brazil. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Tashakur. Salam. Hello. Thank you. Appreciate it. People are so nice. They're from Kabul. Is that your first time visiting the Buddha?
No.
You've done before a few times?
Yeah.
First time for us, definitely.
First time, huh?
First time, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
We definitely don't have anything like that in Brazil. Brazil is only 500 year old. So 500 is a very new country, Brazil. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna try to read for you. Afghanistan Conservation Project funded by UNESCO, and there is a Japanese flag over there. Sorry, I can't read much more than that. Yeah, some things like that were only possible when the International Coalition was here. You can see even have the old Afghani flag, but before that, the civil war and everything would be impossible to do something. We are arriving at the Buddha's head, and as you can see, there was a cave just behind the head. So here we are at the Buddha's head. Right here, it's the end. And right over there, that's the TB that let us in. Going down, the Buddha is still there, and we can go. They had Buddha images all around here, and was obviously all destroyed. Be careful to not fall over. It's very easy to fall over here. Can you see that group over there? There were some local female tourists, and apparently before they weren't allowed to come here.
This is the first time our guide has seen, so
Yeah, that's really cool actually. It's the sign of times. Can you say like that?
Yeah, sign of the times, like it was a mixed group. There were men and women. They were laughing. They seemed very relaxed. So
Yeah.
fingers crossed, that's the future.
I think things are improving the same way. Think about Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, less than 10 years ago, they were chopping people's head in public square. Women couldn't leave the house without a man, and women couldn't drive. And now Saudi Arabia is the cool kid on the block. They have all these sports tournaments. They have all these new constructions. They want to be the new Dubai.
Still conservative, but they're changing.
Opening up a lot, a lot. Think about the history of Saudi Arabia or the Middle East. They've never been so open. And then also talking about Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain. So I'm positive. I'm usually a positive person. I believe here things are gonna get better with time, especially because it's Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, who are a little bit pumping money into Afghanistan. تشکر.
خارجی رفتن خارجی ها خارجی ها چی کردن خارجی ها؟ چی شدن؟ یه خارجی بود نه داخلی بود خارجی نبود
تشکر. حافظ. Não quis conversar comigo não. So I stopped because I didn't want to talk about that close to the Taliban guy. But I was talking about Saudi Arabia and all the other countries, how they were pumping money here. So if they're opening up, they're probably telling here the Afghan government to also open up, because they understood, like, if you don't open up and people have access to the internet and everything,
They see what the options are in other places.
exactly, it's gonna explode. Poof. So as a pressure cooker, you just leave a little bit of the pressure go out, opening up a little bit the country. Please let women
At minimum, let them go back to school.
minimum go back to school, choose any kind of work they want. At minimum, it's not gonna be Norway or Switzerland from one day to another, but I think it's gonna improve the same way we were talking about Saudi Arabia, Dubai, Qatar improved a lot. Dubai, before you couldn't drink anywhere, and then you could just drink inside the hotels, the international hotels, and now you can drink everywhere. There's massive party there. You see women wearing bikinis and everything. So woo, hopefully it's going to improve things here. We are positive. Super cool. That Afghani family we've met, they invite us to stay at their place, or at least to have a tea and everything in their place. That's super tight. So the Spaniards that were killed a few years back, they were around here, and they got shot at by, we don't know, probably ISIS-K, but still don't know. We are a little bit on a hurry in Kabul, but maybe we can say hi and have a tea or something. Just another observation. We left to buy a few things, banana, as you can see. And a TB guy, Taliban guy, came to talk to us, asking for documents and everything. And then at the end, through the translation, he mentioned, if you need anything, if you have any problem, anything, talk to me. Which is being like a constant throughout the trip. But one thing that we noticed in Bamyan, everyone here has like an Asian features. Like we were in Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, they look like Kazakh, Kyrgyzstan, Central Asian features. And the Taliban, absolutely not. They look like most people in Kabul, for example. So you can see the Taliban, they are foreigners here. They don't belong to this region. So that's why people here don't like them. It is what it is, like a
They have to accept it.
weapons talks a little bit louder, let's say. So many observations. This trip has been amazing because how much you've been observing, how much has been changing here, and it is changing.
It changes so fast.
It's changed so fast. Hopefully for the better. Hopefully for the better. All the sheep, the middle of the valley here, and we are going to the ancient town, more than 1,000-year-old. Yeah, so another town destroyed by Genghis Khan, but it was also part of the Silk Road. Here, incredible. You can see the stairs, they are renovated. So it's much easier to go up, but it's like a whew, it's not easy. Some parts were renovated, like that one, these stairs, but then other parts there, not yet. Seriously, look at that. Look at that, look at that. Obviously, Nikki messing up with my video. I told her to walk because it's amazing. And this is just about 10 minutes out of Bamyan. Again, it's not just about the Buddhas. If you come here, you have to go to these ancient towns, ancient cities, because incredible. I would say almost as incredible as the Buddhas, in my opinion. But look at that. Where do you see that with almost no tourists at all? Tunisia, a little bit. Remember I mentioned Tunisia? Yeah, Tunisia, see a little bit of that. But it was a long time ago we went. So 10 years ago we went to Tunisia, so maybe now there are a lot more tourists. Okay, Nikki corrected me. About like 2019, so 6-7 years we were in Tunisia. But this has the Tatooine kind of vibe. Obviously, it was George Lucas who copied them and not the opposite. Okay, we were debating if we're gonna go all the way up there or not. And I guess, there's a guy smoking there, come on. And we decided, I guess we're gonna go.
Get a little toasty, but
She is gonna get toasty, that's not cool. Here you can see really well the fort, the walls, all around perfectly. We are almost there, see? Quite a bit higher up. It's a good exercise, I gotta tell you. The summit. So right here at the top, I think it's an old anti-aircraft cannon that they use not against aircrafts but against land targets, because you see it's perfect align here, like you just move. That's not the cannon, the barrel itself is just to hold it. Someone took the barrel here aligned to protecting the entrance of the valley. That was a road there, so we would use this to protect that. I guess was the Russians, Soviet, that's not American. And there would be another one over there facing that road over there, that valley. So you protect both entrances of the valley. But then there's like the Mujahideen, they're like crazy hikers. They would go through the mountains probably. They would go through up there and not through the middle of the roads. Another Soviet cannon here abandoned. And now today there's a flag of the Taliban. I still don't know if it was from the Mujahideen or the Soviets, because the United States supply a lot of Russian weapons to the Mujahideen through the Israelis apprehended from Egypt these Soviet weapons, and then they supply to the Mujahideen. So at the start, at the beginning at least, they wouldn't be able to say, it's the Americans supplying weapons to the Mujahideen to fight against the Soviets. And a lot of the knowledge we are getting here in Afghanistan comes from this man.
This is Azim from Badakhshan. I'm a tour guide. I am coming to Bamyan with my base client from Brazil and USA. we're in Zuhak city in Bamyan.
If you want any information about how to hire Azim here, I'm gonna give his contact, his Instagram. I don't think it's a good idea to leave the telephone number, but his Instagram contact in the description here below in the video. And then you can contact him. He's a great guide. I'm talking a little bit more about the geopolitical part, the force we say, but the local contact, the local information is all about him. I'm just transmitting to you all. So all credits to him.
And he's helped us a lot with planning other things all over the country, getting our permits, helping us find places to stay. So highly
Azim
recommend.
is being here with us in Kabul and Bamyan. The other places, Herat, Kandahar, Mazar Sharif, we're gonna try to do kind of independently. We will know together if we did independently or not, if it was possible.
But he's giving us recommendations
He's giving
regardless.
a lot of good recommendations and contact. So if you're planning to come to Afghanistan,
Hire Azim.
I definitely recommend Azim.
Oh, thank you.
And if you are interested in the history of the Soviet occupation of Afghanistan between 1979 and 1989, there's a pretty good movie. It's a Hollywood movie, so take it with a grain of salt, with Tom Hanks. It's called, wrong place, no, I can come here. It's called Charlie Wilson's War. I'm gonna put the image here. It's a pretty cool movie, really actually funny, but it talks about how the United States financed with money and weapons and training the Mujahideen, which at that time was allied with Taliban. So a lot of American weapons end up with the Taliban to fight the Soviets. And how once the Soviets left Afghanistan, the way they say is like the crazies are starting to take over Kandahar, which led eventually to the terrorist attacks of 2011. So it's super cool, the connection. Let's say super cool, like it's super interesting, the connection on how one thing leads to another and to another. And far away from here, you can see two trucks that seem to be American trucks. And over there in the garage, on the far right, two Humvees. Probably belong to the Americans or the ANA. You can see the energy poles here, but without the cables. because they're still isolated from the national grid, because now some things stopped because of the Taliban. There's a lot of construction going on, I can see, but some things that they're trying to do, they stopped. I'm trying to drink this ultra milk. It's not exactly milk, there is hydrogenated palm oil, milk solid things, sugar, emulsifier, and vegetable oil origin.
That doesn't sound like milk to me.
Nah, but 13 grams of protein, so we take what we can get, right? Again, the roads are really good, impressive. So this is a PepsiCo product here in Afghanistan. So corporations, they don't really care if it's a right-wing government, left-wing government, the dictatorship, democracy. They're gonna do business and make money with whomever is in power. Now, a lot of parts of Afghanistan, all you see is ruins like that. Very few constructions. This region is known for producing apples. So a lot of beautiful apples here. Salam alaikum. Salam alaikum. Look how high the trucks are. Like super high. I don't know if that's normal. Like my brother-in-law is a truck driver. Don't remember being that high. A bag of apples like this one is about $2.54, so a little bit less than $4. Dominique, how sweet is this apple?
It's a good apple.
Like it's a good apple. There's no emotion, like it's delicious, it's amazing. One of the best apples I've ever eaten in my
I'm
whole
from
life.
Minnesota, which grows tons of apples. We have pretty good apples there.
So you don't want to be like a trader.
I used to go apple picking every year when I
We
lived
went once, remember?
Yeah.
So if you've been watching this video since the beginning, you remember we mentioned like the Pashtun area, the roads were really bad. And when we got to the Hazara people, the roads are much better. Why? Because Hazara people, they support the coalition, but a lot of the Pashtun people, not everyone, but they support the Taliban. So they're constantly attacking the coalition forces here. All the convoys, the American convoys, they would attack them here. So it's full of potholes. For example, with IEDs, improvised explosive devices, in a road like that, they would come from the side here, dig a hole, really, really deep, parallel here to the road, and put a lot of explosives down here. A lot of underneath the road. So the pavement's perfect, but it would be full of explosives here. And then when the convoys of the coalitions were passing by, boom, they would explode it. Just look at some videos on YouTube. I don't know. It's really, you can find on the internet. It's like 3 tons, 4 tons vehicles, like super heavy, fly in the air. And a lot of soldiers from the coalition, most of them Americans, they died here. So they would come here, they would explode, their choppers would come, rescue all the wounded and everything, everyone would leave, and then the locals would just come back, put sand over here, and life goes on. The road would be like that. So that happened often, and that's why the road now is so bad, because constantly they have these scars of the war, the scars of IEDs. They were constantly in this part here of the road. We are about like 1 hour and a half, 2 hours out of Kabul. There was a big base here. You can see all the sandbags kind of. Here was a base of Anna. On the other side there was a massive American base, huge. They protect this area because we are about, I don't know, a couple of hours from Kabul. They had to protect the capital, so they would put a lot of military in these surrounding areas. There was a base as well, and you can see some of the equipment left behind. Tons of equipment. Look at the Humvees over there, abandoned, left behind, and now just garbage. And almost at the entrance of Kabul, you have those Soviet BRT. BRT, those are wheeled armored personnel carriers to transport troops, essentially. Light armored, but armored nevertheless. What, Nikki? Looking at me just because
Cute and smart.
not smart about it.
I don't know any about
So
this.
that's the front that way. That one's over there. Pretty cool, right? Let me see. From here, it's the best way to. Kabul is right over there. And you can see where the projectiles came out. Wow. And you think people overload their trucks in your country? Oh my God, it's almost touching the wire. And they're doing a lot of work here. They think they're duplicating this road to the entrance of Kabul. Yeah, things didn't stop here in Afghanistan after the takeover of Taliban. This was our ticket to go to the Buddhas and also to Zuhak and to the Gholghola. So you pay 1,000 Afghanis, which is about $15, and then you get to go to all these attractions. Bamyan, we went yesterday, and the other 3 today in the same day. So it's better to do in the same day because the ticket is for 1 day. So if you do the most you can do in 1 day, the better it is because you only pay 1 ticket. $15, it's and apparently it was 500 Afghanis, so about $7 something, literally a week ago, and they increased the price. Yeah, I know this money is kind of going to the Taliban, but yeah, we don't love that, but all the other money we're spending here goes to the people, literally. The hotels, the taxi drivers, the guides, the restaurant owners, everybody else. Convoy of military trucks with containers. All these trucks are originally American. See another one there, not painted, painted in green. Are you sure they can do that? Have the USA painted over there? USA. That's weird. USA. Are they crazy? I think they're having a wedding, people commemorating. Very interesting. They kept all the fancy SUVs, bulletproof SUVs, with antennas and everything. Probably belong to embassies or military and everything. It's all gone. They have the globe event right here in the center of Kabul. But I think some of the countries are a little bit old, at least the African ones. So guess where we are right now? We are in a shopping mall in Kabul. So yeah, they do have shopping malls here in Kabul, like any other shopping mall in any other country around the world. So we could have gone to a very traditional restaurant and everything on the corner in the bazaar somewhere, but we wanted to be here to show you how in some places around Kabul looks like any other place. If you want to buy clothes, like fancy shops, they have here. If they have children's clothes, have a cafe. We did that on purpose. And here it is, our super Western meal here in Afghanistan. The Coke, at least, is traditional. It's from Afghanistan, produced and bottled here in Kabul. There is a normal Coca-Cola, but at least this one is local one, a local Zai. Please respect the hijab. So if you want to see more of Kabul, especially Kabul during the night, start of our journey here in Kabul, we talk about that. We talk like us arriving in Kabul, like even applying for the visa and everything in Peshawar, in Islamabad, and walking around at night, in Kabul. So you can see a little bit, have a feel, and there's some things that happen over there. Can share with you as well. So take a look at this video. If it's not online, it will be online soon. So subscribe, and you're gonna notice when the video is online. And if you're enjoying these videos about Afghanistan, there's a lot more coming up because we are going to travel for 10 more days here in Afghanistan, 13 in total. So it's still gonna go to Herat, the most liberal, progressive city in Afghanistan. Then definitely in quotes.
But it's something.
Then we're gonna go to Kandahar, the most conservative part of Afghanistan, the birthplace of the Taliban. And then we go to Mazar Sharif, a gorgeous mosque, very north, almost at the border with Uzbekistan, Tajikistan. So a lot of cool things coming up. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please like and subscribe. We're still a small channel, so every like and every subscribe really helps the channel grow. Take care, safe travels, until the next time.